My name is Oscar Bravo. I'm 42 years old. I live in a small town called Black Hollow, Oregon, the kind of place where the rain never really stops and the fog clings to the pines like it's afraid to let go. I used to be a high school history teacher until last year. Now I'm just the guy whose wife died in a car wreck on Highway 22, the one the newspapers called tragic but unsurprising, because of the ice that night. Her name was Elena. She was 39. We'd been married for 14 years, no kids, just the two of us and a creaky old Victorian house that always smelled faintly of cedar and her lavender hand cream. They told me she died on impact. I identified the body myself. I held her cold hand in the morgue while the coroner waited politely in the hallway. I planned the funeral. I picked the casket. I stood in the rain while they lowered her into the ground. I watched the dirt hit the lid. I went home alone. I deleted her contact from my phone 6 months ago because every time I scrolled past my chest caved in like someone had punched me from the inside. Life became quiet. Painfully quiet. That all changed tonight. It's 2:17 a.m. right now, and I'm sitting in the dark on the living room couch with every light in the house on, because about 40 minutes ago my phone buzzed on the coffee table. One single message. From a number I don't have saved anymore. The preview on the lock screen just said, "Are you awake?" That was it. Lowercase, no punctuation, exactly the way Elena always texted when she was half asleep or tipsy or both. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I was going to be sick right there on the rug. I stared at it for a full minute before I swiped open. The contact name was blank, just the raw number, but the message thread went back years. Thousands of texts, photos, stupid memes, voice notes of her laughing in the car. Everything I thought I'd lost when I deleted her contact. All of it was suddenly there again, like the phone had resurrected her digital ghost. I typed back with shaking thumbs. "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, "It's me, silly. Why'd you change the locks?" I swear the temperature in the room fell 10 degrees. The locks. She was the one who insisted on those fancy smart locks 2 years ago because she kept losing her keys. I changed the code after the funeral so her mother wouldn't keep letting herself in unannounced. No one else knew the new code. Not even me half the time. I still fumbled it constantly. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My mouth tasted like copper. The dots appeared again. "I've been trying to get in but it won't take my thumb." My vision blurred. The lock has a fingerprint scanner as backup. We both registered our prints when we installed it. The company swore the data stays local, on the device itself. When Elena died, the print should have been useless. Dead skin doesn't scan. Another buzz. "It's cold out here, Oscar." I stood up so fast I knocked the coffee table over. The sound echoed like a gunshot in the silent house. I live on a dead-end street. The nearest neighbor is half a mile through thick trees. There's no one out here. I ran to the front door and stared through the peephole. Nothing but the porch light flickering against wet leaves and darkness. I checked the Ring camera on my phone. Motion detected at 2:09 a.m., right when the first text came through. The clip was 9 seconds long. It showed the empty porch, the swing moving slightly in the wind, and then, something. A pale blur at the very edge of the frame, gone before the infrared could focus. Like someone stepped just close enough to trigger the sensor, and then backed away again. I called the number. Straight to voicemail. Not the generic robot voice, the old one we recorded together, drunk on our anniversary, both of us giggling. "You've reached Oscar and Elena, the hottest couple in Black Hollow. Leave a message or forever." Hearing her voice, bright and alive, nearly buckled my knees. The phone buzzed in my hand while her laugh still echoed from the speaker. New message. A photo this time. It was our bedroom window from the backyard, taken from the exact spot where the lilac bushes grow. You can see the glow of my bedside lamp through the glass, and my silhouette sitting on the edge of the bed, head in my hands. The timestamp on the photo, 2:14 a.m. less than 5 minutes ago. I was in the living room the whole time. I sprinted upstairs, taking the steps two at a time, heart hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. The bedroom was empty. Window locked from inside. No footprints in the mud beneath the lilacs when I checked with a flashlight, just the rain still falling soft and steady like it had every night since she died. Back downstairs, another text. I miss the way you hold me when it storms. Thunder rolled low outside, the first we've had in weeks. The lights flickered once, twice, then held. I finally typed back. Elena? The reply was instant. Finally. Took you long enough. Then another. Can I come home now? I'm so tired, baby. I haven't slept since. I've been sitting here watching the little typing bubbles appear and disappear, like she's trying to find the right words. Every few minutes a new message trickles in. Memories only we shared. The song that played when I proposed. The inside joke about the ugly lamp her mom gave us. The exact brand of tea she drank when her throat hurt. Things no one else could know. Things I never wrote down anywhere. The most recent one came 30 seconds ago. I'm at the back door. Let me in before I catch my death out here. I can hear it now, the soft click of the doorknob turning, slow testing. Back and forth. Back and forth. The deadbolt is thrown, the chain is on, but the knob keeps moving like someone on the other side has all night. And the worst part? The camera facing the back porch just went black. The app says, "No signal detected," even though every other camera is working fine. I don't know what's on the other side of that door. I don't know if I want to know. But the knob is still turning. I don't know how long I stood there frozen, staring at the back door while the brass knob kept making that soft, patient click click click, like fingernails tapping out a rhythm only it understood. The rain had picked up. I could hear it drumming on the porch roof, sliding down the gutters in steady streams. My phone was burning hot in my hand from clutching it so hard. The screen kept lighting up with new messages, each one shorter than the last, like she was getting impatient. Oscar, please. I'm getting wet. It hurts to be out here. I forced my legs to move. 1 step. 2. The floorboards groaned under my weight the way they always have, but tonight every creak sounded like a warning. I stopped 3 feet from the door. The chain was still on, the deadbolt still thrown. Nothing could get in unless I let it. Then the knocking started. Not loud. Not frantic. 3 gentle taps, the exact way Elena used to knock when she forgot her key and didn't want to wake me if I was already asleep. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. My throat closed. I tasted salt. I'd been crying without realizing it. I pressed my back against the hallway wall and slid down until I was sitting on the floor, knees pulled to my chest like a kid. The knocking stopped. Silence rushed back and so completely I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. Another buzz. A video this time. 8 seconds long. I shouldn't have played it. I knew that even as my thumb pressed the triangle. It was shot from inside the kitchen, looking toward the hallway where I was sitting right now. The camera was low, like someone crouching behind the island. The picture was grainy, night vision green. You could see my silhouette huddled against the wall, shaking. Then the camera slowly panned left, toward the back door. The chain was hanging loose. The deadbolt was open. I never touched them. I scrambled to my feet so fast I slammed my shoulder into the wall. The chain was still on. I could see it with my own eyes, glinting in the light from the stove. The deadbolt was still thrown. I reached out and rattled both of them hard just to be sure they were real. The video had to be old. A prank. Someone hacked the camera roll, stitched together old footage. That was the only explanation my brain would accept. Except the timestamp in the corner of the video read 2:41 a.m. tonight. I turned the phone face down on the floor like that could stop what was happening. The overhead light in the kitchen flickered once and went out. Just that one bulb. The rest of the house stayed lit. I heard the soft click of the switch being flipped, even though no one was there. Then the smell hit me. Lavender hand cream and wet earth. The exact combination that used to drift through the house whenever Elena came in from gardening in the rain. It was so strong I gagged. I grabbed a knife from the block on the counter, not because I thought I'd use it, but because my hands needed something to hold. The stainless steel was ice cold. I walked into the kitchen. Everything looked normal. The calendar on the fridge still open to February, the one with the picture of us in Maui that I never had the heart to tear off. Her coffee mug still in the drying rack exactly where she left it the morning of the accident. I hadn't washed it once. There was still a faint brown ring inside. The smell was stronger here. It felt like standing inside her skin. I opened my mouth to say her name and nothing came out. The fridge motor kicked on with a low hum. When it did, the shadow under the kitchen table stretched, way too long, like someone tall was standing on the other side of it even though the room was empty. I backed out slowly, never turning away, until I was in the hallway again. I slammed the kitchen door shut and leaned against it, chest heaving. My phone buzzed so hard it skittered across the floorboards. New message. This one was a voice note. I stared at it for a long time. Then I pressed play. At first there was just wind and rain and the faint creak of our back porch swing. Then her voice, small and tired and exactly the way I remembered it from the nights she couldn't sleep. Oscar, I'm sorry I left the stove on again. You always hated when I did that. The stove. I hadn't used the stove in months. Everything I ate came from the microwave or takeout boxes. I ran back into the kitchen, knife still in my hand. The front left burner was on high, blue flame dancing under the empty cast iron skillet we got for our wedding. The handle was turned toward the wall, the way Elena always did because she was left-handed and it felt natural to her. I'm right-handed. I always turned it the other way. I shut the burner off with trembling fingers. The skillet was already hot enough to burn if I touched it. When I turned around, the calendar page had flipped itself to March. Someone had drawn a big red circle around the 17th, today's date, and underneath, in handwriting I would know anywhere, the words, "I'm home." I don't remember leaving the kitchen. I only remember ending up in the upstairs bathroom with the door locked, sitting on the edge of the tub, staring at the phone like it was a loaded gun. The messages kept coming faster now. "Why are you hiding from me? I forgive you, baby. I know you still sleep on my side of the bed." I do. I still sleep on her side because mine smells like nothing now. Then a longer one. "Remember the night we drove to the coast and got caught in that storm? You held me so tight I could feel your heart beating through your coat. I need that again, Oscar. I'm so cold." I looked at the bathroom door. The lock was one of those little push-button ones, flimsy. I watched the knob start to turn, slowly, the same patient rhythm as downstairs. I whispered, "Elena?" The turning stopped. Then, so soft I almost didn't hear it, from the other side of the door, her voice, real, not through the phone, close enough that I could hear the tiny rasp she got when she'd been crying. "I missed you so much it hurt worse than dying." Something inside me broke open. I stood up, walked to the door, and rested my forehead against the wood. "Baby?" I said, voice cracking. "Is it really you?" Silence. Then the softest laugh, the one that always started in her nose when she was genuinely happy. "Open the door and see." My hand hovered over the lock. I wanted it to be her more than I've ever wanted anything. I wanted to hold her and smell her hair and tell her every second without her had been its own kind of death. But something was wrong. The lavender smell had turned sharp, like crushed stems, like the way the funeral flowers smelled the day we buried her. I didn't open the door. Instead, I slid down to the floor again and cried like a child, big ugly sobs that hurt my throat. The knob stopped moving. After a long time, my phone buzzed one last time tonight. The message was only a photo. It was me, right now, sitting against the bathroom door crying, taken from inside the room. I'm staring at the screen as I type this. There's no one else in here with me. I don't know exactly when I fell asleep. I only know I woke up on the bathroom floor with my cheek pressed to the cold tile and sunlight slicing through the frosted window in thin, painful blades. My phone was dead beside me, screen black, battery drained to nothing even though it had been at 70% when I sat down. The house was silent except for the soft ticking of the grandfather clock downstairs that I haven't wound in almost a year. It was running again. I sat up slowly. My whole body felt bruised, like I'd been in a fight I couldn't remember. The bathroom door was still locked. The knob showed no scratches, no marks, nothing to prove it had turned by itself in the night. I told myself it was a dream. A grief hallucination. The kind of thing that happens when you've spent 364 days talking to an empty house. Then I smelled coffee. Real coffee. Not the instant stuff I've been living on. The dark roast Elena mail ordered from that little place in Portland, the one with the ridiculous name, Stumptown. We used to argue about how pretentious it was, but she loved it. I hadn't bought it since she died. There was no way the smell was in this house. I opened the bathroom door like I was defusing a bomb. The hallway looked normal. Sunlight on the faded runner rug, dust motes drifting lazily in the air. Her bedroom door, our bedroom door, was closed the way I always leave it. But the smell was stronger now, coffee and something underneath it. Brown sugar. She used to put a pinch in her first cup every morning. Said it reminded her of her abuela. I walked downstairs on legs that didn't feel like mine. The kitchen was warm. The stove was off, the skillet back in its place on the rack. The calendar still showed March 17th circled in red, but someone had added a tiny heart in the corner, the same doodle she used to leave on post-its stuck to my laptop when I was grading papers late. There was a mug on the table. My favorite one, the chipped blue one we bought in Astoria the weekend we got engaged. Steam curled from the surface. Next to it, a single folded note in her handwriting. I picked it up with fingers that wouldn't stop shaking. It said, "I never blamed you for the accident, Oscar. Stop punishing yourself. Drink the coffee before it gets cold. I'll be in the garden when you're ready." I stared at those words so long the letters started swimming. The accident. Everyone said ice, bad luck, wrong place at the wrong time. But I was the one who asked her to drive to her sister's that night. I was the one who got drunk on cheap red wine and picked a fight about nothing, about how she always left dishes in the sink, about how I felt invisible sometimes. She'd stormed out crying. I didn't stop her. I didn't follow. I let her get in the car. I never told anyone we fought. Not the police. Not her mother. Not even the therapist I saw for exactly 3 sessions before I stopped going. I drank the coffee. It tasted perfect. Too perfect. The back door was unlocked. I stepped onto the porch. The garden was exactly the way she left it last spring, overgrown, wild, beautiful. The lilacs were blooming months early, heavy purple clusters dripping with rain from last night. And there, kneeling by the rose bed with her back to me, was Elena. She wore the same gray sweater she had on the night she died. Her dark hair was pulled into the messy bun she always did when she worked outside. She was digging with the little hand trowel, humming something soft I couldn't quite hear over the blood in my ears. I took one step. The porch board creaked. She turned. It was her face. Her eyes. The tiny scar on her left eyebrow from when she fell off her bike at 12. But something was wrong with the proportions, like looking at a photograph that's been stretched half an inch too far in every direction. Her smile came too slow. "Hi, baby," she said, and her voice was perfect, warm, a little husky from the cold. "I miss getting my hands in the dirt." I couldn't speak. My throat had sealed itself shut. She stood up, brushed soil from her knees, and walked toward me. The closer she got, the more the smell changed. Lavender and coffee and earth, yes, but underneath it now something metallic and cold, like the inside of the morgue. She stopped an arm's length away. "You look tired," she said gently. "Didn't you sleep?" I found my voice. "You're not real." Her head tilted. That familiar little movement that used to mean she was trying not to laugh at me. "I'm as real as you need me to be, Oscar." She reached out and touched my cheek. Her fingers were freezing, but the touch itself was soft. Real. I felt the callus on her right index finger from years of holding pens too tight. "I know you think you don't deserve this," she whispered. But I came back anyway. Because I forgive you. Because love doesn't just stop. Tears rolled down my face. I couldn't stop them. I killed you, I said. The words scraped coming out. No, she said, stepping closer. The road did. The ice did. You just let me go. And I needed you to let me go so I could come back different. Different how? She smiled again, and this time I saw it. The way her shadow on the porch boards didn't quite match her movements. It lagged half a second behind, like an old film reel skipping frames. I'm not stuck anymore, she said. But you are. You've been dying in this house one day at a time. I can fix that. She took my hand and placed it over her heart. There was no heartbeat. Just stillness. And cold. So much cold. Come with me, she said. We can garden together. Watch the storms from the porch swing. Sleep on the same side of the bed forever. No more pain. No more guilt. Just us. I looked past her to the rose bed she'd been digging. The soil was turned in a perfect rectangle, about 6 feet long, 2 feet wide. Deep enough. My knees buckled. She caught me easily. Too easily. Ship, she murmured against my hair. It's okay. I already started for you. All you have to do is lie down. I don't know how long we stood there. Hours maybe. The sun climbed higher, but the garden stayed cool, like the light couldn't quite reach us. Birds stopped singing. Even the wind held its breath. Eventually I pulled away. I can't, I said. Her face flickered, just for a second, into something older, something papery and gray that smelled like wet leaves left too long in a gutter. You will, she said, and her voice cracked in the middle like a record skipping. Sooner or later everyone chooses peace. She let go of my hand and walked back to the rose bed. Knelt again. Started digging. I stumbled inside, locked the door, threw the deadbolt, set the chain. I grabbed my keys, my wallet, ran to the car. The engine turned over on the first try for the first time in months. As I reversed down the driveway, I looked in the rearview mirror. She was standing at the edge of the garden waving goodbye with one hand. The other hand held the trowel. And at her feet the hole had grown. Big enough now for two. I haven't gone back. I've been driving for 9 hours straight, up the coast, no destination. Every motel I stop at, the clerk says the same thing. You look like you've seen a ghost. My phone is still dead, but the car charger brings it back to life eventually. When it does, there's only one new message. Sent at 7:03 this morning. A photo of the garden from the kitchen window. Both holes neatly dug. Fresh soil piled beside them like graves waiting for bodies. Underneath, in her handwriting I can now see isn't quite right anymore. I'll wait as long as it takes, baby. The roses like it when we're together. I'm somewhere north of Newport now. The ocean is gray and endless on my left. Every mile I put between me and that house, the warmer I feel. Like sunlight is finally reaching bones that have been cold for a year. But sometimes, when I blink, I still see turned earth. And sometimes, when it rains, I swear I smell lavender and coffee on the wind. I don't know if she'll follow. I don't know if I'm running toward life or just taking the long way to the garden. All I know is the house is quiet again. For now.